All right, so if anybody's been past the former Black and Decker at the Talbot County, the former Talbot County Business Center, I can now say, you may notice it's looking a little different now. Work has really picked up speed. Work on the security and the containment fencing is the primary thing that everybody is seeing. That work's going to continue until at least February the 8th. We were just talking. It's been a bit of a slow start. There's a lot of posts that have had to be set. There are 14-foot poles set 4 foot in concrete. So the ground's been hard to get to. They've been moving concrete out there in skid steers because the cement or concrete truck can't get off the hard surface. So it's been a slow process. And then we've had weather as well. You'll notice that the brick entrance has been removed. Once the fence gets down there, all the signage will be put up. We made some adjustments to some of the signage so that the community can find their way into the sheriff's office. We had to take some do not enter signs down that were there in the past, and we had to put some new sheriff signs up with some arrows, because one of the challenges that we're going to have is operating the sheriff's office in the middle of a construction site. So everybody's aware of that. We're being vigilant. And we actually have 2 banners made that says sheriff's office is open during construction that we're going to put on the fence as soon as the fence gets down there. We also have 2 signs made, more than 2, but at that entrance they'll have 2 that says Airfield Modernization Program, contact Easton Airport if you have questions, with our phone number and email address.
When will the sheriff's department be out of there?
So the sheriff's department is working now on the Mary's Court property. The thought is they'll be able to occupy that maybe as early as June, maybe as late as October. That's kind of what I'm hearing now. The Mary's Court property is going to be built out in phases, and the first thing they're working on is administrative space to put the sheriff in there. So summer time frame is what we're looking at to get the sheriff out of there. You'll notice the light poles, parking lot fence, and some exterior structures have already been demoed. The contractor's been fantastic. They really have been. Communication with AECOM and Atlantic, who's the prime contractor on it, has been very good. They've made sure they've been very attentive to our needs, and they've been very caring to make sure we get public access in there to the sheriff's office. A lot of survey work and utility locating is continuing. The contractor's mobilizing more equipment. If you take a look over there, you'll see the parking lot is really starting to fill up with low boy tractor and trailers and other thing else. They're starting to bring in some gravel and stone and other material. They're doing a lot of small enabling tasks right now. A lot of things are it really aren't very visible. Disconnecting some external electrical circuits, taking down the poles. It's going to be very noticeable in the coming weeks. So, and Derek will give you more on all that stuff here in a moment. And we did go through, and we've got about 16 items that have identified for sale via the Gov Deals auction that we're working with them. We did go and check with the county attorney, Hugh. I know that was something that you mentioned last time, to make sure we're covered and doing everything via the charter, and and we have got that cleared through the county attorney, and so we're good to go on that. And we are going to have a hold harmless agreement for if they're going to come in and take a crane out or something like that. We're going to make sure that we're protected under that regard. So here's kind of what it looks like standing out there on the intersection of the Parkway and Glebe Road, kind of looking in on the panorama. The actual fence material is actually stretched to just nearly the corner right now. So like we said, it's been a slow slog because they've tied into the airport fence back here in the corner, the far right corner. There you go. You can see my cursor kind of moving now. And the concrete truck couldn't get off the asphalt, so they've had to take it out there in skid steers, and it's been muddy, and it really has been a slow process getting all the poles in and but they are starting to stretch the fence. They're working obviously towards this corner and then down towards the entrance. There will be gates that'll be installed shortly. There will be 2 gates installed between the new fencing and the existing airfield fencing. And then after they get down to the corner with the mistletoe, they'll run down the mistletoe and completely encompass that area. Any questions about anything with that? And one thing I do want to say, especially while we have this recorded portion, so the best way I've learned to describe the fence is it's a permanent fence in a temporary location. Because on all of our papers it says temporary fence, temporary fence, temporary fence. And the contractor was like, "Man, you're really overbuilding this temporary fence. Why are you burying these things 4 foot in the ground?" It's in a temporary location, so it's a permanent structure. It's 10-foot tall fencing. It's going to have fabric, on it once it's done. But the reason it's being placed in this location is it's defining the outer limits of the work area. So looking at the picture there, all the work for the construction is going to take place inside of the fence. And it's going to be a couple years. Once the Talbot County Business Center is demolished and that site is at final grade, the fence will be relocated to the new position, which will be closer in. So it's a permanent fence in a temporary location is the best way to state it. And there's just a photograph of the day we took down the walls there to the entrance of the former Talbot County Business Center, which we now lovingly refer to as Parcel 58.
Parcel 50?
Parcel 58. All right. Oh, let me see here. So with that being said, I am going to turn this. First of all, does anybody have any questions about anything that's happened in the recent month? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I will say a couple things. I really feel we've done a great job of staying out in front of this and putting this information out to the public. WBOC was over here again yesterday. They did another spot piece on it. BOC has done 2 pieces in the last 2 weeks. WMDT did a great piece on it, and the Star Democrats done a piece on it. So with our own social media blasts and other local dissemination, I think we're really getting the word out about what's happening. So if we don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Derek Hollinger, and he will run through what's about to happen.
So yeah, as Micah mentioned, a lot about to happen. So just for everyone's awareness, we are in package 1 of undetermined number of packages as part of this overall program. It'll likely be between 5 and 8 construction packages in total. Package 1, as Micah mentioned, is under construction. I'll talk a little bit about upcoming work here. So as Micah mentioned, the fence posts are approximately up to this location at the on the east side of the entrance drive. We'll be completing the fence, if you follow my cursor, not exactly through those properties, but up to enclose Parcel 58 down this perimeter in the next 1 to 2 weeks, temperature and weather dependent. That being said, once that's complete, we're going to proceed with the pavement removal surrounding the Black & Decker site. And really what that means is, as Micah mentioned, it's sorry about my cursor. I'll actually step up here. It'll be a little easier. Or no, you won't be able to hear.
Here, take it with you. Look at that. All sort of flexibility here.
Yep. So when you're looking at this, basically everything on the south side of the site will maintain, and for access to the sheriff's office coming from the south, then the parking lots and loading docks on the west, north, and east side of the building structure will all be crushed and removed. Those pavements will all then be transported. We're building a haul route up across the west side of the site, and then will be crushed on site on the Parcel 58 parcel outside the existing airport fence, but inside what will then be the closed fence. As part of this phase also, this ditch that you see, which comes over in this location and down to the stormwater pond that leaves the property, will actually be relocated to come more towards the central portion of the pond. that is actually working to then build the wetland site that's going to be adjacent to fence outside of where that ditch is located. The crushing permit is received for that demolition work. So that basically what I mentioned. The drainage patterns are being diverted, and the demolition is going to be completed mostly in the month of February. Beyond that, then we'll start late February into March, basically building the drainage system that's in this location. So there's an existing drainage pipe that traverses the runway 4 end that comes from adjacent Easton Utilities, this woodlot down crossed into Glebe Creek. This is being relocated into a new pipe where we're doing a stream diversion basically out in this vicinity. It's going from a existing 36-inch pipe into a 60-inch pipe system, and the amount of conveyance will actually be in drainage pipes will actually be a longer area than what's there existing. It'll go all the way out past where proposed taxiway alpha will extend down. There's also a variety of other smaller drainage systems we'll install through the month of February and March in this location. And then beyond that, we'll start building the access roads to get to the borough site located on the northeast corner of the airport, as well as the borough site just behind us here from the behind the maintenance facility. So in total, I believe Micah has mentioned it, we have about 400,000 cubic yards of fill in this project. A lot of it, if you look at the existing ground, when you look at my hand here, everything flows from east to west across the site. So what we're doing, obviously, with the runway and taxiway profile, this area is all coming up in grade, and then this area will be cut down in grade. So, you know, to bring ground up, we're actually moving over half of the dirt right from this area out across this way. We're pulling another 100,000 yards between the two borough sites, and then there's approximately 150,000 yards coming from off-site. So 150,000, 100,000, 150,000 from off-site to make up that 400,000 yards of fill. That in itself will likely begin in the April time period once the haul roads are built in the March time period, and then that's what will continue from April through basically the end of summer. That's a real brief, I guess, update on package 1 and what's left. If anyone has any questions with regards to that, everything is which we can go to the.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you could bring up like the contour one and kind of explain.
Yeah. So when you look at this is basically, I know we've discussed it in the past, this graphic shows the proposed grading of the entire airport. So, sorry, I'll put hands first and I like pointing, so I'll come back up here again. So existing runway 22 end is down in this vicinity up right now, and then the existing runway 4 ends about in this vicinity. So obviously with shifting the runway, you can see how much fill is taking place off that end. There will still be a grade difference throughout the runway profile, shifting the runway 22 end down, but the drainage system that's being installed that I was mentioning is all in that vicinity. So we're building everything in these packages towards this total program to limit rework as much as possible. Definitely from a drainage perspective, some from an earthwork perspective. But that basically shows the overall contours, grading, and drainage for the entire site. You can see here, this is the borough site that I mentioned right off Centerville Road that we'll be pulling about 75,000 yards of dirt from, and then another 25,000 from behind the maintenance building. Maybe if you go to the next graphic. Well, yes.
Shifting the runway, because somebody asked me, why are they shifting the runway?
So it's about 1,000 feet that's being shifted on this end. The existing runway protection zone and runway object free area is non-standard. So there's a modification of standards approved by the FAA temporarily until the runway is shifted. But it's because of Route 50 is basically too close to the existing end, Route 50 and Centerville Road. They figured it was easier to shift the runway than Route 50. Yeah.
Talk about the past.
Yeah. If you go to the other PDF, so then this shows basically the grading and drainage of just this first project that we're working on. So you can see we're building the basically the contours, the profile of the future runway and taxiway off the runway 4 end, but not building out any of the proposed fill over the Black and Decker site. That's basically just remove and restore for the purpose of this first project. I'll go then, I guess if there's not any questions on the first project, to go to the Micah also, I believe, wanted me to talk about the second package a little bit.
See, I think the computer's giving me some trouble here, but if you kind of explain, like what the grading and where it's going to end up from package 1, and
Yep.
how we're planning that tie-in package 2, which we'll be going out to bid for in April.
Yep. So when you look at this graphic here, right off basically where the existing airport fence is, so the runway 4 ends coming up approximately 7 feet, taxiway alpha is coming up about 8 feet of what existing grade when you look out there. So in package 1, we're basically stopping grade right approximately where the runway end will be, and then tying into inside the existing airport fence. And then in package 2, we're basically going to come back, pick up that transitional area, and then grade out over top of where the building is. Basically, so that's, yep, thanks for pulling it closer to me. So when you look at this, that's where we're stopping in package 1. All of this will maintain as existing grade, aside from what we're removing pavements and restoring in place. But then when you look at the overall profile here, you can see we're building out the runway 4 profile, each of the taxiway connectors, and then the drainage system that's being installed, every rim elevation set, perfected to what the overall program design is. And then actually everything on the west side of the site is being constructed to its permanent grade down to where the proposed wetland site is. All hydrology is basically being set on this side. In package 2 then, everything basically from here down to the end of the LOD will be set in permanent, aside from a small section that we're actually going to leave that ditch relocation that I mentioned earlier. In package 1, basically package 2, we're setting to be a net zero fill cut job, such that we don't have to haul in any dirt. And then when we actually have to come and remove some of the dirt in this area that's being used, where we'll build the pavement section in package 3, that dirt will then be placed in that hole in order to meet final grades, just overall material balancing between each of the packages. But when you look at package 2, right now, I mentioned that existing stream goes through this area where we're diverting just the end of it. In package 2, though, will actually be the stream comes from this area right in here and crosses the site. In package 2, we'll be actually pulling the stream down around the corner of the building and diverting into the pond. So there'll be minimal hydrology going to that area. That stream diversion will take place in package 2 with the building demolition. And then we'll actually be coming back into this area, because right now, all of this grade actually flows to this drainage pipe in package 1. But because of the utility relocates and because of we cannot get that stream in until the building's demolished, we have to come back and cut a little bit of grade to get this to drain ultimately back to the south. So everything's balanced from a water management perspective to not create issues in either package 1, 2, or 3. It helps that we're removing a lot of impervious. We're maintaining that we're removing over 10 acres of impervious at the site, as well as remediating every environmental contamination issue at the Black & Decker facility to turn to grass.
Package 2 have the demo of the building?
Yes. Yep. Overall, a smaller job in scope. Obviously in package 1, we're kind of all over the place building haul roads and pulling dirt. Package 2 will be primarily focused on building demo, the stream relocation, and then the fill in the area, as I mentioned, off the runway 4 end. proposed runway 4 end, the fence at the end of package 2 will actually be removed, the AOA fence where it exists now, and then the fence that Micah mentioned, 10-foot tall fence, will then become the permanent, not permanent, semi-permanent AOA fence at the conclusion of package 2.
Any other questions for Derek? Well, that was fantastic.
Nope.
Thank you. It's exactly the update that I was looking for, and you put it so eloquently. Just a couple things that I wanted to expound on. Blaine, your question about relocating the runway and why, and Derek is right. The whole catalyst, it's the whole catalyst is the current runway configuration is too close to Route 50. So in the early 2000s, when FAA put their new design standards out, they enforced that you have to have 1,000 feet of safety area on either end. So we're actually operating under a waiver. That was the agreement. So we're operating under a waiver, and we are restricting the usage of the runway. Like as an example, if you are on an aircraft departing off runway 4 right now, you'd have to operate as if there were only 4,775 foot of runway. You couldn't operate on the full runway. And that's part of our waiver. So that was part of the agreement with the FAA is they issued the waiver. We have restrictions in place while we were working on a full-time solution, and this is the full-time solution. The other thing I just wanted to say, we're putting a lot of work in planning package 2 right now. We anticipate package 2 is going to be out for bid around the April timeframe, and then we'll be working on grant submission to FAA and all the stuff behind the curtain. And so getting the sheriff's office out of there kind of ties into this, because one thing that's going to be different between package 1 and package 2 is package 1 is doing a lot of enabling things. It's the hydrants, the service roads, package 1 is like a lot of preparatory. Those are the months we're in now. Once we get into package 2, that stuff is done. It's hit the go button. So when we have that award and we're ready to demo, it's not going to take 3 or 4 months to mobilize. It's going to be demo, and it's going to be building down. So it's going to be a much faster process with package 2. So just kind of wanted to put that out there. Does anybody have any other questions about the program, what's happened, where we're going? A lot of cool stuff has happened already, and we are just getting ready to tear into it. So the coming weeks and the coming months is going to be it's very exciting times out here at the airport. So